Hey there, Art Stars. Today we are drawing the elf on the shelf. And if you're feeling in the Christmas spirit, grab a piece of paper and a pencil and let's go to the drawing board. Okay, here we are at the drawing board, and I've got my paper here, and this is actually watercolor for today because I'm going to paint this little guy when we're done. But as any good artist knows, or if you've watched any of my videos, we always like to break things down into their basic shapes. So our little elf on the shelf, what shape is this? Is his head? Yes, it's a circle. So let's just very gently kind of rough in a little circle here in the middle of our paper. And you can see I came down a little bit because we're going to put his hat up here. And that's just going to give us the basic start for his head, okay? So let's get this a little more detailed. I'm going to come up right at the top of the circle here, and I'm going to come in a little bit and up, and then I'm going to come down about halfway because his ear is going to be right here. Actually, let's just put that in. Let's put a little line in there for his ear, and then right off the top of the ear, I'm going to come up and in slightly, and this is going to be the white fur part of his kind of his little elf hat, and then I'm just going to make a little arch that comes over and meets the other side, okay? And then I'm going to come right off where that ended. I'm going to come up and in, and we're just going to make a big triangle here down the other side. And can you see how that's already starting to look like his hat? Groovy. Okay, let's give him some hair. So if I I'm just going to divide his hat into 3 sections. They're almost the same. His head's a little bit turned in this one, so I'm going to make this section a little bit smaller than this side. But if you come in and you kind of make those little lines, right where this line is, I'm going to start to shape in his hair. And it kind of sweeps in and down like this, and then it comes back out into a little point. And then I'm going to come over to that other line, and I'm just going to kind of sweep that around and meet that point. That's a little wave in his hair, okay? And remember, guys, even though I'm drawing dark so you can see, keep your lines nice and loose and light. These are all reference lines right now, and we'll detail them in a little bit. All right, let's come right off here. Well, we started from this line to make his wave. We're going to come down and out this time, down to a little point, and then that's going to meet kind of right to where his ear is. And then I'm just going to tweak that a little bit for that little chunk of hair on this side, okay? And then we're going to come over on the other side, and we're going to start right about here, right where it starts to curve. And I'm going to come down and then out to kind of follow that curve of his face, and then back up to this little, I keep wanting to say Santa hat, his little elf hat. All right, now I'm just going to put a little light line right down the middle so I know I can put the eyes on both sides. But because of the way his head is turned, I'm going to start this eye, his left eye to me. I'm going to come down, if I come off the top of the ear and I make a little curved line like that, that'll give you a good place to start. The bottom of his eye. So the bottom of his eye is just kind of straight over. Okay. And then it makes a big hump like this. Got that? And then we're going to give him 3 little eyelashes. And then right above here where the point, right by the point, we're going to give him a little line right there. Maybe I'll make it a little higher. Sorry, pros make mistakes too, guys. Okay, there's his eye. There's his point. And then right here, I'm going to give him a little eyebrow. Okay, now we're going to come into the eye a little bit. We're going to make 2 lines. One right here, because his eye's kind of in the corner, and then another little one right next to it, like this. And then a little highlight right here. Okay, you got that? Now remember, you can start this video over, you can pause it, you can go backwards and forwards till you get a good idea of what we're doing. Maybe just watch it all the way through the first time and then come back and draw. But hey, if you're already drawing, let's go for it. All right, let's do the other eye. Now, remember where we put this line in the middle? This eye is about this far away, but this eyeball, I'm going to start just a little bit closer to the line, right about here. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing we did on the first side. I'm just going to kind of shape that little arched hill. And I bring the bottom across like that. Always trying to keep it on the line a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this eye as I did on the other one. Little curved line here. Another one close to that. And then a little highlight that's going to be the little gleam in his eye, so to speak. All right, 1, 2, 3 eyelashes. And then another little eyebrow right above his eye, right about here. Okay, his nose, we're just going to make a little kind of a half oval, the bottom half, almost like a little wide U, just right there like that. Kind of looks like a smile at the moment, huh? But now we're going to put his smile in. So right off here where the edge of his nose is, I'm just going to come down a little bit. And I'm going to make a little line like that. And I'm going to curve it under and back up to the other side. And then if I kind of make an imaginary line from the corner of his nose to where his mouth is, I'm going to put another little smile line. Okay. And then right underneath, I'm going to come down a little bit from that side and give him a little bit of a bottom lip there. Just like that. For his neck, I'm just going to come down right around in here, so kind of between where his eye and his point of his ear hair is. I'm just going to come down, and right at the bottom, I'm just going to give him a little line there. And then about the middle of the eye, if I come down on this side, a little line there. And then just draw a line straight across. All right. Draw that line in a little better so you can see him. Let's do his collar. His collar comes down and out. Okay, and then it's kind of pointy, so we're just going to come in a little bit. And we're going to just make some zigzags. And these kind of look like triangles, right? If you look at the points coming down. So just down and out, down and out. And this one, we're going to make come back up to his collar. Like it is. Okay, now his body, what's the basic shape for his body? Yep, it's kind of a rectangle, but it's a long one. Okay, so this elf's kind of tall for the elf world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in a little bit from the collar because we want some room for his arm out here. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to very gently sketch a triangle. But don't be afraid to make it even a little longer than you think it might, because he's a tall elf. All right, so once we have that, now we're going to come right down from where, just come down a little bit from the collar where his body starts. And we're going to bring one arm in, and we're going to come down and out, and over, and then back up, right back up into his collar. Okay. And then let's do his hand, his little mitten hand on that side. So we're going to just come in a tad from the edge. And we're going to come down and just kind of sweep it out. So it's kind of like almost an L, but there's no hard bend in it. So just a curving L down. Stop about right there. And then we're going to come back under and up toward the sleeve. And then we're going to stop there and bring it right back up to the sleeve. Okay, let's do the same thing on this side, right? Come down from this point a little bit where the body starts. And we're just going to come down to about there, almost to the waist. You can almost draw a line from the waist to the cuff. Okay, so stop there, come over, and kind of curve it back up to the collar. Okay. Now we're going to come from the inside of the sleeve, we're going to come down, and we're going to sweep it out the opposite way that we did for the one on this side. So I'm going to come down this way and out, and curve it up and over, and then back up, pointed toward the cuff. All right, how's that look? Good. I'm going to take this out of here so you don't get confused by it. And now let's do his legs. We're going to make him sitting on a shelf. All right, so we're going to start with his right leg first, and we're just going to come in to the middle of the body. So if I put a little line right there at the middle of the body, I'm going to come down like this a little bit, and then I'm going to come out and down. So I'm going to kind of fold it because that's where his leg is going to be bent. And then from here, I'm just going to make the shape of his little foot like that. So it's kind of just almost a teardrop, but we want to leave this width in here. And then I'm going to come back up again, and where that bend is, just before it, oops, make it a little fatter. Just before I get back to this bend, I'm going to bend this one. So it'll make it look like his leg is bent sitting on the shelf. All right, let's come back to the middle again. And this time I'm going to bend it out this way a little bit, and then down. And I'm going to stop here and skip this leg. But if I kept drawing my line, I'd find out where it would show again from behind it. I'm going to come down and make it another foot shape. Now, if you want to, when you get here, instead of stopping and jumping down, you can just draw it. You can just draw it in like that. Because when you're done, all you got to do is erase it. Look at these. And you don't see that line anymore. It looks like this leg is behind this leg. All right, so now we can do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to draw it straight through where it would go through the foot. And then bring that line up here. Remember where this bend is? So just before we get to that part, we're going to bend this leg like that. Then I can take this line back out, and it looks like his feet are crossed. All right. How's yours look so far? I think this is looking pretty good. Hope you're enjoying this. If you do, like and subscribe, because we draw cool cartoons all the time. And we do different cartoons, but right now we're doing Elf on the Shelf since it's Christmas, of course. Okay, now one final thing. We don't have a shelf that he's sitting on. So there's a couple ways you can do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this is a T-square. And just to make it really easy to make a straight line across here, I'm going to take my T-square and I'm going to butt this edge up against the paper. And so I can see where, let me make sure that's even. Okay, I think I drew him a little crooked, so I want to make sure it's even on my guy. So I'm going to make two lines, one for the shelf, and that's going to go right in where his knees cross. So I'm going to put it about right there. And then I'm just going to start at the edge of the paper. I'm going to come across and jump his leg and draw it in here where you can see the shelf in between. And then I'm going to take this one right off the paper. And then I'm going to come down a little bit. This is going to be the front part of the shelf. And all I want to do is make sure that this line is about the same distance all the way across as the top line. So they're spaced even. Let's see how close I can get this. Okay, and then I'm just going to draw that line in all the way across, except where his legs are. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Now, oh wait, that's crooked. Oh, thanks for telling me. Whoever said that. I was not paying attention to the paper. I was paying attention to the... Let's get this T-square back out. I was paying attention to his legs. Okay, let's try this. Now it'll be straight. Okay. I didn't have the edge of the T-square against the paper. Oh, that's better. Okay, let me come down and do that one more time. And hey, nobody's perfect, guys. Even pros make mistakes. But it doesn't count because I can always go back and fix it. All right, that looks much better. All right, now we're going to come up a little bit so we can kind of see the shelf that, that's behind him, because he's the elf on the shelf and he's sitting on the edge. And I'm going to draw one more line all the way across, nice and loose and light. So if I have to, I can erase it. There we go. Now he's starting to really look like he's sitting on a shelf. Now, to detail this in a little bit, what we're going to do is we're going to take a black pen. And, you know, I always like to use my handy dandy Micron pens. These are great. They're waterproof. They're archival, which means they last for a long time. And they make a really nice line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to trace over all of the lines that I want to keep. So now I can, I don't have to worry about the lines across his face or in the middle of his head or anything like that. I'm not going to trace any of those. I'm just going to trace the ones that I want to keep. And if any line isn't exactly the way I want, this time I'll draw it in like that. We'll let the ink dry, and then we'll erase any of the pencil marks that are left. Okay? So I'm going to speed this up so you can see it in quick time, and then I'll meet you on the other side, and we'll see how to finish this little guy off. Are you ready? Let's do it! And there you go, art stars. Our elf on the shelf is finished. Now, you can leave it this way if you want. It's a nice little pen and ink drawing, and you can see I erased all my pencil lines, so he's nice and clean. You can color him with crayons or markers or color pencils, or you can get some paints out like I'm going to do, and you can paint him. And I'm going to use watercolor for this. I use these Arteza watercolors. They look like this, and I think I got these on Amazon. There's like 36 different colors. And check out all the cool colors in there, guys. Now we only need a couple: brown and peach for skin and red. So this is going to be an easy one. So I'm going to do this in a time lapse so you can watch it, and then I'll show you the finished product at the very end. Are you ready? Then let's go. Whoosh.
Up on the housetop, reindeer paws, out jumps good old Santa Claus, down through the chimney with lots of toys, all for the little ones' Christmas joys.
Well, there he is, everybody. The completed elf on the shelf. I hope you enjoyed this video, and a warm and happy Merry Christmas to everybody. Remember, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel, and until the next video, we'll see you later. God bless.